Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Mindy and this is See Mindy Mom, and I'm getting ready to embark on a really big challenge. I'm going to try to feed myself 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, for 3 days with just $5 worth of food. So if you're interested in seeing if I can do it and how I do it, then stay tuned. All right, you guys, I have been thinking about what kinds of videos I want to make moving forward, and I want to start doing a few more videos around budgeting, especially as it pertains to trying to feed your family and also trying to maintain healthy habits. One of the things that I would like to show is that eating healthy doesn't have to be expensive. But in thinking about this and in, looking around YouTube, I discovered this challenge. I don't know how long ago it was, but there were several videos where people were trying to feed themselves, just one person, 3 meals for 3 days on just $5 worth of food. So this morning I had to go to Walmart anyway because I needed to get my son a new bike helmet. And that is not something we can go without around this house because my son, bless his heart, love him to death, but he's kind of clumsy. And given our limited options for entertainment, our kids are spending a lot of time outside. So I decided, since I've got to run to Walmart, I think I'm gonna go ahead and grab a few things and I'm gonna see if I could do this challenge. One of the things that I noticed as I was watching these videos is that people were often showing the food that they bought and then they were just talking about what they would do with it. They were just giving ideas. They weren't actually always going through the 3 days and vlogging that and telling you how they felt and how they cooked the meals and what they were adding to it if they were using seasonings or something in their house. So I decided that I just wanted to dive right in. It's 3 meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 3 days, and you're supposed to try to stick to a $5 budget and not use anything from your house except for cooking oils, spices, and any condiments that you may have. Now, I'm going to try to keep that to a minimum and just keep it very basic where that's concerned. I don't want to, just be pulling out something that might not be pretty standard in a person's kitchen. But it was a little more challenging than I thought. And I gotta admit, I thought that I would have a few more options, but I was finding that when you're just feeding one person, it's kind of challenging. I actually think it would have been easier to do 2 people for $10 than 1 person for $5. I also really wanted to try to get some fruits and vegetables into my day and some whole grains into my day. And I wanted to try to make this, not just a cheap meal, but somewhat nutritious. I wanted to try to keep some nutrition. I wanted to pay attention to fiber and try to get a few grams of fat and a few grams of protein into my meals and just see if I could do that. So in other words, I didn't just want to do beans and rice or ramen noodles or something like that. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I really wanted to try to have some fruits and vegetables, some really good nutrients in my food, and also a little bit of variety. Although I gotta say that sometimes when you're on a budget, variety is just a luxury that, I can't afford. And so I will be eating pretty much the same breakfast, lunch, and dinner all 3 of these days. I don't think there would be any way to do it on $5 and vary it, but that's okay. I think these are meant to be meals that get me through. This isn't meant to be like a long-term thing. It's meant to be something that will just get me through maybe a difficult time, or maybe if I'm, struggling to make it to the next payday, the next big grocery shop. If I only had $5, how could I feed myself? Now, my family is not doing this with me. It's just me. I'll be making them meals separately. I'll be making them their dinner and their meals each night, but I will not be eating that. I will be eating from the groceries that I purchased today. So I'm going to turn you around. I'm going to show you what I got, how much it was, and then we'll jump into the food and I'll show you how I'm preparing it and what I'm eating, and hopefully take you through my days and let you know if I'm full, if I'm satisfied, if I'm hungry. So come along with me. So here's what I was able to get with my $5, and I think I did pretty well. One of the first things I put in my cart was actually a 5-ounce box of pasta that was only 32 cents. I thought I had hit the jackpot until I found these in another section in the store. They were with where they keep some of the Hispanic foods, and this is a 7-ounce bag of pasta, and it was only 27 cents, and that is going to be just enough for 1 person for 3 days. And then I got lucky. My store did have a 1-pound bag of brown rice, and it was 78 cents. I knew that I would be looking to see if they had these little bitty cartons of eggs. There's only 6 eggs in here, but they're only 55 cents, and that will be great. It's a great source of fat and protein for my 3 days. And I got 3 bananas. When it comes to fruit, I mean, I'm not sure that it gets any cheaper than bananas. Bananas were 49 cents a pound, and I was able to get really close to a pound. I think this is 56 cents worth of bananas. 1 can of tomato paste was 42 cents. I really tried to work in some veggies, and I decided to get this bag of peas and carrots, which was 80 cents. I thought that if you're on the green plan, you have to count peas, but when I scanned these in the green plan, I switched my app over to green plan just to see what they would scan at, and it was still 0 points, but I got that for 80 cents. And then I got one of these little cottage cheese cups. They were only 92 cents, and I really needed the cottage cheese, and I didn't want to pay $1.88 for a full-size one, so I got that. They were 92 cents. And I did get a cornbread mix for 46 cents. I know that this calls for milk and an egg, and I did get eggs. I did not buy milk, so I'm going to try to make it with water and see if it comes out okay. Maybe I'll put, I don't know, a little bit of oil or something in it to try to keep it from being too crumbly. And then I had about 30 cents left, and I was not going to leave any penny unspent. And so I found this little yogurt. It was 32 cents. And these are 6 Smart Points on all plans, but I figured when I'm, at the end of day 2 or the beginning of day 3, this is going to make such a nice little treat and kind of get me through that day. So that's why I went ahead and got this. And I figure the little bit of pineapple that's in this little cottage cheese cup, I could toss that into my yogurt, and I'll have that like as a snack or a treat on one of my days. So here's my receipt. And I got 9 items, and my total before tax was $5.07. So I went 7 cents over. I could have gotten a few smaller bananas. I could have put one banana back, and that would have put me well under the $5. I just decided that I wasn't going to do that. And we do have tax on groceries in Oklahoma, so I did not count tax towards my $5 expenditure. If I needed to, I could have not purchased the yogurt, and that probably would have helped me stay closer to $5. But Oklahoma's actually in the minority there. I think only 12 states have sales tax on groceries, and we're even one of the only states that charges the full tax rate of 8.5% here in the Tulsa area. So a lot of people don't have tax on food anyway, but $5.07 for what you see here. And now I'm going to jump into my days, and I'm going to show you how I am going to use this to make breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 3 days for myself. And at the end, I'm also going to give you a points breakdown on all of the WW plans, and I'll tell you a rough estimate of calories and protein and fiber as well. So we can talk about whether or not I was hungry, if it kept me full, all that kind of stuff. So here we go. Hey guys, good morning. It's day 1 of this little challenge, and I'm just getting my breakfast together and doing some other things. I'm realizing there's going to be a lot of cooking in this first day to prepare the meals that I'm going to be eating, and then it will just be a matter of, reheating things and, making an egg in the morning or something like that. So what I have done so far is I'm making my corn muffins, and I just added my cornbread mix, 1 egg, and a little less than 2/3 of a cup of water. And the other thing that I added to it was a little bit of mayo, and I don't like mayonnaise. I've said that before, but I know it's in stuff that I eat. Like, I don't like it as a spread. So I'm having trouble kind of trying to figure out how I'm going to navigate all of the, rules, what rules I'm going to place for myself, because you're supposed to be able to use condiments, spices, and cooking oils, butter, olive oil, whatever you have on hand. And I decided, I don't want to go hog wild with that because not everybody has that kind of stuff. But I realize if somebody has a kitchen and they have a refrigerator, a lot of times, even if there's almost nothing in it and they're out of food, you'll open it up and there'll be like, a jar of mayonnaise or half a stick of butter or a tub of margarine or something like that. And a quick search on Pinterest trying to figure out how to maybe spice up my cornbread a little bit. Some of them suggested adding mayo to it to make it more moist. And since I am not going to use milk, I thought I would try that. But I don't keep mayo in the house since I don't care for it. But here was another thing that I thought of. And please tell me I'm not the only person who does this. In my pantry, I actually have a fabric shoe organizer over the door in my pantry. I know that seems odd, but like I put little packets of things and just things that will fit in there to make more space in my pantry. And one of the spaces has all of these little bitty like packets of condiments that came from, you know, fast food places, little ketchups and mustards and, you know, soy sauce. And I even have like a few honey packets in there, I think from ordering Mexican food, and they sent sopapillas and they sent honey for the sopapillas. So anyway, I just thought to myself, you know, maybe this is a good way to use up some of these, because I found 3 little packets of mayo and I thought I'm going to go ahead and toss that into my cornbread mix, because I was worried about it, you know, not being really crumbly. I mean, cornbread is crumbly anyway, but I was worrying about it even being more crumbly since I was using water instead of milk. So, you know, scour your kitchen for those little packets. The corn muffins are in the oven, and when they're finished baking, I'll make up my breakfast and show you guys. I had already decided that I was not going to drink any diet soda, that I was not going to use any water flavorings, no beer or wine or alcohol of any kind, since I did not purchase that. You know, obviously it wasn't with my groceries, but I came to an impasse with coffee, because I thought to myself, if I don't have my coffee, this is going to go poorly for everybody involved. And I decided that I would allow myself to have my coffee in the morning, because most people who are coffee or tea drinkers are going to have that on hand. They're not going to run out. And also, a lot of people drink coffee or tea in the workplace. A lot of offices have coffee. You know, a lot of churches have coffee. Sometimes when we go to run our errands, you know, PTA meetings or whatever, different social engagements, they have coffee. My mom had coffee with our neighbor almost every afternoon when I was a little girl. So I feel like people who are coffee drinkers, you know, there's enough opportunities for us to find it, even if we're being thrifty, that I'm going to go ahead and allow that. And everybody around here will probably thank me for it. This is what I will be eating for breakfast the next few days. My corn muffins turned out beautifully. I already tried them. They're delicious. I did put a little bit of butter on them because I had some in the refrigerator, and I'm trying to keep it really simple. But some other things that you can do with corn muffins, some people add a little flour to their corn muffin mix and some milk. There's like a recipe for something called Johnny Cakes, which that's kind of a Southern thing. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's basically kind of like a corn muffin pancake. And people like to eat those with syrup. Some people like to put honey on their corn muffins. So there's like all kinds of things you can do using stuff from your pantry. I'm just trying to keep it really simple and keep the additions minimal to try to keep in with the spirit of the challenge. I have 1 egg scrambled, just with some salt and pepper. And then I have a banana, but I may actually save my banana later for a snack. I'll start with this and see if it'll tide me over, and then I can hold on to my banana. I was thinking to myself, man, I really wish that I had some cheese for my eggs, but I just could not, you know, afford cheese on this little bitty budget. And I tried, believe me, to work it in. But then I thought to myself, in keeping with the tiny little packets that are all over the house, anybody else have these from the pizza place? So if you have some of these on hand, obviously you can sprinkle this onto your food, and, you know, no extra cost to you if you're one of those people like me who, for whatever reason, hangs on to these. For lunches, I am making just a very simple veggie fried rice. And one of the keys to fried rice is that you have to use cooked, chilled rice. So using day-old rice or cooking it far enough in advance that you could actually put it in the refrigerator to cool down is pretty much key to making fried rice. And I started with 2 cups dry of my brown rice. And so it yielded probably around 4 to 5 cups of rice. And I also added a little bit of my carrots and peas, about half my bag of my carrots and peas. And then I'm going to use 2 eggs, some garlic powder, onion powder, ground ginger, soy sauce, and a little bit of vegetable oil. I do find that fried rice, it works the best with vegetable oil. I know it's not, you know, the healthiest, so to speak, but it will not work very well with olive oil. It doesn't have a high enough smoke point. So I am just heating up a couple tablespoons of that vegetable oil in my pan, and then I add my chilled rice. And I'm going to season it with my garlic powder, onion powder, ground ginger, and a little bit of cracked black pepper. And I just let that cook in the oil and give it a stir every couple of minutes, and it kind of gets a little bit crispy on the bottom side. And once it has cooked for a few minutes, I will push it all to the side of the pan, and then I will cook my 2 eggs. And then I'll just stir it all together once those eggs are cooked and add a little bit of soy sauce. And I didn't get that on camera, but I did put some soy sauce into this just to give it a little bit of extra flavor. And here's what it looks like when it's all finished. And since I made so much rice, I actually ended up not using it all in this recipe. So I just put the leftover of the rice and peas and carrots in the refrigerator to have as a snack throughout the days when I was hungry. So you may be wondering why I got this little can of tomato paste instead of just a can of tomato sauce, which was even cheaper. But this little can is basically, concentrated tomato sauce. So once I open this up and put it into my pot, and add about 2.5 cans worth of water, that's basically gonna reconstitute the sauce, so to speak, and it's actually gonna produce way more sauce than if I had bought just a little 8-ounce can of sauce. This is a 6-ounce can of tomato paste, and so then I'm gonna add, about a cup or so of water to that, so it's gonna produce a lot more sauce. I am going to season my sauce with probably just some Italian seasoning, garlic powder, onion powder, and maybe salt and pepper, and I'm just gonna let it simmer for a little bit and kind of, get all those flavors in there. And then I'm actually going to cook my pasta in the sauce. So I'll probably need to add just a little bit more water, and I'm just gonna cook my pasta in the sauce. And that's how I'm gonna make my pasta. And so I'll show you whenever it's finished. I forgot to mention earlier that I also added the rest of my peas and carrots to this. And I did have to add more water than I thought to get the pasta to cook pretty well. So I would say I probably added in all like 5 or 6 cans worth of the tomato paste can of water, along with the tomato paste and then the pasta and the veggies, and cook that up with the spices. It's kind of like a goulash, I guess you could say. And then remember that tiny little carton of cottage cheese that I bought? Obviously, I'm not using the pineapple right now, but I just topped it with a little bit of that cottage cheese so that I could get some of that cheesy flavor in there. You could make the pasta separately, reconstitute the tomato paste with seasonings, and layer it all like in a casserole dish, like a small dish, and bake it if you wanted to. But I just chose to make it this way on the stove, and I already have 2 other portions already put away for the other 2 nights, but that's going to be my dinner. So it doesn't look like much, but it's actually really tasty. I've already tasted it, so it'll do. Hey you guys, it's day 2 of this little challenge, and I'm just out for a little walk in the middle of the day. It rained this morning, so I couldn't get out and walk. Yesterday, I was definitely a little hungry at the end of the day, like right before dinner. So I did eat some of the extra rice that I made, and I still have a little bit too that I haven't made up, but I'm definitely finding that I'm probably gonna need to supplement with some of that, maybe as like a late afternoon snack. I was a little bit disappointed in my dinner. I mean, it was good. It was okay, but it wasn't as tasty as I thought it was gonna be. I think I just needed to season it a little bit more, a little bit differently, because some of the sweetness of the tomatoes, was coming through, and I was kind of looking for it to be more savory. But you might be wondering why I am choosing to do this. Some of the reason is, I thought it would be interesting, but also food insecurity in general is an issue that both my husband and I are passionate about bringing awareness to. My husband's parents are both very heavily involved actually in their food pantry in Texas where they live. They're there multiple days a week volunteering. And I don't know, it's just a subject that I find heartbreaking and fascinating from the perspective of, we live in this amazing nation, and yet there are an estimated 40 million Americans who are living with possible food insecurity, which basically means that at any, at some given time in the year, they may not have enough food to properly feed themselves or others in their household. There are quite a few children in this country who live in food insecure homes. But I hope that if you are watching this and you are struggling with food insecurity, or somebody who is, that you will reach out for help, that you will contact your local food banks. If you don't know where to start, if you have kids in school, a lot of times schools have resources, or they can refer you to resources that can help you. I know that a lot of churches, there's actually a food pantry that we support on our church site, but also even if they don't have anything there that can help you, a lot of churches will have a list of resources and places you can call that will help you. Of course, there are SNAP benefits and WIC benefits, and those are there to help people with this problem. So I hope that if you are in need, that you will search out those resources and ask your friends and neighbors, your kids' schools, your local churches. If one of them says, we don't know, we can't help you, go try another one until you find somebody who will. After this video goes up, my husband and I will make a donation to our local food pantry. Part of my intent with this video is to raise awareness, especially at this time, whenever we may have people who have lost jobs or been furloughed or been laid off, and perhaps they're going to be facing food insecurity. I think it's more important than ever for those of us with the resources to support organizations that battle food insecurity, that address that issue, and that help our neighbors. So we will make a donation to our food pantry, and if you are able, I encourage you to do the same. I just got back from another quick little after dinner walk, and you guys, I have to admit that I have never been so excited in my life to have this little sugar sweetened yogurt. And I knew that this would be a nice little treat for me and that it would kind of help me get over the hump. I knew that the second day I would probably struggle a little bit, which is kind of sad, I know. I have noticed a few things. Number one, I like food way too much. And number two, I have grown way too accustomed to not only having food whenever I want it and as much as I want, but having lots of choices. And when you're on a tight budget, variety is a luxury, which is why, I knew I would have to eat the same meals for 3 days, and I can't believe it. I'm such a wuss, and already I'm like, man, I wish I could have something else, and it's only been 2 days. So I'm gonna have my little yogurt, and with you remember the little thing of cottage cheese? Well, the fruit that's on the side of it, I'm actually going to put that into my yogurt, and I know it's gonna taste really good to me right now. You guys, it has been so long since I have had sugar sweetened yogurt. This tastes like almost like ice cream or pudding to me. I'm so used to having just plain yogurt and putting, fruit, granola, my own sweeteners in it. It's insane. Okay, you guys, it is the end of day 3. I'm sorry I have not done a ton of vlogging today. I have stuck with my little meal plan. I'm having a bit of an allergy attack, so sorry if I look kind of funny. I had to take my contacts out because my eyes were itching so bad and my skin was itchy and my eyes were all red and swollen and stuff. So I've just kind of struggled with that today, but I wanted to finish this challenge because I put a lot of work into it. And I know that you guys are probably wondering exactly, how much food was I taking in? If you're on WW, how many points was it? How many calories was it? And I figured out that if you were eating what I was eating and nothing more, if you were doing just my original meal plan and not supplementing with anything, it came out to 28 points on green, 26 points on blue, and 17 points on purple, and then an additional 6 points on whatever day you ate the yogurt that I showed you guys, because that little thing of yogurt was 6 smart points. And it came out to right around 1,400 calories. Now, I was able to bump my calories up by eating a little more of my rice. I actually didn't use all of my rice that I had purchased for my fried rice that I was eating for lunch. So I just ate an extra serving of rice, like as a snack, or maybe, after my dinner or something like that if I was hungry a few hours later. And I also put a little bit of butter on my corn muffins, and that got my calories up closer to, like 1,600, 1,650. My hope, obviously, is that if somebody had to do this, there would be other things that they could supplement with. If they were drinking coffee at work, they could put a few teaspoons of sugar in their coffee, or maybe a little milk. Or if they had a little cheese or a little salsa or a little sour cream, that they would be able to use that, in the recipes that I made and kind of supplement where those calories are concerned. And my hope is that this would be very temporary if anybody had to do it. But I've definitely learned a little bit about myself, and I've also had time, to think and to ponder this issue, that a lot of people I know in our country face. So again, we are going to make a donation to our food pantry, and I encourage you, if you're in a position and you're looking for a way to help people who are food insecure, to consider doing that. I know that monetary donations are really helpful to our food pantries, because whenever they are able to pool all of the donations that are coming in, they can get some really great deals wholesale, and actually their dollar will go farther than ours would on its own, if that makes sense. So let me know if you guys like this, and let me know if you want me to do this again. Maybe I try another store, like do different stores, like maybe Target or my local grocery store or something like that. If you have some suggestions, if you want to see me do this again, leave me a comment below, and I will be sure to check in again with you guys with another video very soon.